The most dangerous lie you will ever believe is that clarity must come before movement. That you need to see the entire map before you take the first step. I believed it for years. I sat in the parked car of my life, hands firmly on the wheel, staring at a blank windshield, waiting for the fog to lift, for the sign to appear, for the perfect route to reveal itself. And I rotted there. The rust set in so quietly I didn't even hear it. You don't feel stagnation as a dramatic crash. You feel it as a slow, gentle sinking into the upholstery. A growing familiarity with the view from the same window. A haunting comfort in the silence of an idle engine. You convince yourself you are contemplating the journey, studying the terrain, when all you are really doing is perfecting the art of staying put. Because a parked car feels safe. It cannot crash, but it also cannot take you anywhere. And the cruelest truth is that the steering wheel, that symbol of control and direction, is utterly useless until you are already moving. My waiting was a masterpiece of logic. I was preparing. I was planning. I was being responsible. I would move when I had the perfect idea, when the fear subsided, when I felt ready, when the conditions were just right. But readiness is a mirage that moves away from you as you approach it. The conditions are never right. The fear never subsides. It just becomes a familiar passenger you learn to ignore. I was waiting for a feeling of certainty that does not exist in the vocabulary of action. I mistook the paralysis of analysis for the dignity of patience. And the world, life, it just kept flowing past my motionless windows. I saw others moving, some stumbling, some swerving, and I judged their messy journeys from my clean, static, empty seat. At least I wasn't making their mistakes. At least my car was spotless. At least I was in control. This is the silent, screaming tragedy of inaction. You worship the illusion of control and sacrifice the reality of arrival. The shift was not a lightning bolt. It was not a moment of grand inspiration. It was a quiet, pathetic, desperate act of surrender. The one change was not a new destination. It was simply turning the key. It was the decision to let the vehicle of my life, rusty and uncertain, lurch forward by just 1 inch. Just one change. Not a change of course, but a change of state. From off to on. From still to moving. The philosophy of one change is not about a grandiose overhaul. It is about the fundamental, irreducible first principle of motion itself. Before identity, before purpose, before legacy, comes momentum. You cannot steer, you cannot correct, you cannot navigate the beautiful, terrifying curves of a real journey until you are already rolling. That first inch is the most important mile you will ever travel. I remember the vibration coming up through the wheel into my palms. It was terrifying. Now I was responsible for the bumps, the potholes, the wrong turns. But I was also responsible for the vistas, the speed, the feeling of the wind, the discovery of roads I never knew existed. The steering began to work. A slight turn here, a correction there. Movement created feedback. Action generated data. Stumbling gave me information that a lifetime of perfect parking never could. I began to understand that direction is not something you choose in the abstract. It is something you discover through the intimate physical conversation between your hands on the wheel and the road rushing beneath you. You cannot think your way into a new path. You must feel your way into it through the friction of reality. This is the patient, quiet work of rebirth. It is not an explosion. It is the tectonic shift that begins deep below the surface, invisible, building pressure until the landscape itself changes irrevocably. Your winter of waiting is not wasted if the soil is slowly gathering strength below the frost. The suffering of stillness has its purpose, but only if it culminates in that one irreducible change. The decision to move, to let the engine cough to life, to accept the first, jarring, imperfect lurch forward. So if you find yourself today in that parked car, hands tight on a wheel going nowhere, I am not here to give you a map. I am here to whisper the only truth that matters. Turn the key. Do not worry about the destination glowing on some distant horizon. Worry about the silence of the engine. Your one change is not a new goal. It is the transition from potential to kinetic. Let the world see you wobble. Let the path be unclear. Your direction will not be found in the stillness. It will be written in the dust you kick up behind you as you finally mercifully go. Just begin. The steering will take care of itself. Keep going. Keep building. Your journey is waiting not for a perfect pilot, but for a moving vehicle. Make your one change.